Moss here from ericmossfitness.com and ericjmoss.com. I wanted to talk to you today about kettlebells. Duh. What else would I be talking about? And fitness as opposed to the kind of fitness you get from kettlebells and from fitness boot camps, and a difference in approach. Because with the popularity of boot camps on the rise, I do think that this is necessary to say, because boot camps have been popping around all over the place. And what separates my boot camp from another person's boot camp? Well, for one thing, mine is a kettlebell boot camp, and when I say boot camp, it's in quotes. And we primarily use the kettlebell for strength and conditioning. And I'm comparing this to your standard military fitness boot camps where they scream at you, call you things like maggots, worm, sperm, and puke. And I just have to say that that sort of approach is it's ridiculous. And I say that because what's the point in yelling at you and calling you names like that? That might have a novelty for maybe about 2 months or so, but after that it becomes stupid. When preparing for war, that sort of thing is necessary because you've got a bunch of 18-year-old kids that really need to be strengthened up here. They haven't really had a whole lot of life experience to do that to them yet. So they basically have to have a crash course in toughening up, and that's what happens in boot camp. Now, is that approach going to work for a 50-year-old person that just needs to get into better shape? No. No, that's stupid. That's, as I said before, that's ridiculous. So I also want to point out the differences in the methodologies where, you know, they have you running, doing push-ups, pull-ups, and all that fun stuff. And yeah, that'll get you into shape. But let's point out something right from my RKC manual, and that's a study in Russia. Voropayev in 1983 observed 2 groups of subjects over a period of a few years and tested them with a standard battery of Armed Forces PT tests, that's physical training tests. Pull-ups, a standing broad jump, a 100-meter sprint, and a 1-kilometer run. Your standard stuff. The control group followed a typical university physical education program that emphasized those above drills, the pull-ups and all that stuff. The experimental group, and this is the one that I think really points out the differences, the experimental group just lifted kettlebells. That's it. In spite of the lack of practice on the tested exercises, the kettlebell group showed better scores in every single one of them. That points out how effective kettlebell training can be for your elite fitness. And as for safety, you know, one of the things that's kind of popped up in the CrossFit camps and with other standard fitness boot camps that tend to push people a little too hard is rhabdomyolysis, and injuries have become rather commonplace, and that sort of thing makes us all look bad. But with kettlebells in Russia, only 8.8% of the top Russian Giroviks, members of the Russian national team and regional teams, reported injuries in training or competition. That was another study by Voropayev in 1997. That's a pretty low number considering the fact that these are elite lifters pushing themselves to the limits. But that just goes to show you that the high repetition ballistics are pretty safe, and we've actually got a specific system where we make sure that you're able to stabilize the weight before you start pressing it. That's why one of the reasons that Turkish get-ups precede presses, and the RKC program minimum and Enter the Kettlebell is swings and get-ups, because swings and get-ups can strengthen your stabilizing muscles so that you're not likely to drop the kettlebell on your head when you start to press it. But I can see I'm starting to run out of time because I'm already at 4 minutes and 12, 13, 14, 15 seconds of just the talking part, so I'm gonna just say my farewells. This is Eric Moss from ericjmoss.com and ericmossfitness.com. Over and out. Peace. Whoa!